I've come to realise that I've now become. I like to do comedy, a bit of stand-up comedy occasion, tell a few funny stories and whatever. But anything, just make it up. It's normal for Yorkshire people to have a laugh about just about anything, no matter how serious it is. Even if if there's a atom bomb coming over your head right now, so you might as well have a joke about it. If the world's going to end, you might as well have a joke about it. I mean, it's not serious, it's very serious, but you might as well go out with a laugh. It's no good going out with tears on your face. You know it's the end. You might as well start singing and laughing and enjoying yourself before the end. And this is a thing, you see, the world got very sad and angry. And I think, well, because people are afraid of making jokes, they make some sort of silly comedy, but you just can't make comedy up anymore, or jokes about anything, because you'll be very, very careful, because YouTube might ban you. You might say someone might not get the joke, might not get that you're from a different culture to them. You might have a different sense of humour. Many people in the north of England have a very open-minded sense of humour. In fact, the most open-minded sense of humour in the world. Some of the world's best comedians come from that part of the world. But now they would be actually afraid of being as openly funny and witty as they normally would be, because someone who's not as witty or doesn't get their sense of humour, not from their culture or not from their, or doesn't have their education, suddenly would be offended by that, and they'll get cancelled or whatever, because it seems pernicious to me, rather than he was making a joke, having a laugh. That's the way he is. That's where they are. They don't want to be deadly serious about everything, single thing in the world. We've got to be deadly serious all the time. It makes for a rather boring people to be with, who are deadly serious. So I was thinking how to get out of this. So I'm going to learn to speak Chinese, because if I speak Hindu, I'm not really made up my mind yet. Chinese, Hindu, Mongolian, Urdish, Persian, whatever it is, Bangladeshi, whatever it is language they speak, because, they can all make jokes about anything they want. They can get away. Chinese people can say anything they like, about anything they like. You can sit in a restaurant and go on and talking in Chinese about anything they want. And then no one can tell. They can have a right good laugh in their table, because Chinese got a fabulous sense of humour. One thing I know about the Chinese, got a wonderful, open-minded sense of humour. They're very sophisticated people. That might be politically incorrect to say that. I don't know. Is it politically incorrect to say that Chinese got a sense of humour? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's offended someone. If you said Americans have got a sense of humour, that might offend someone. My cat's offended me again. He's always making demands. But the thing is this: if you have to now learn a foreign language, what's not English, to actually go and do comedy on YouTube, because that way, unless YouTube have got these people in their little censorship board go and say, well, hang on, was that funny? They have to decide whether it's funny or not, or whether they see the joke or not. And I'm going to put this on and hope that YouTube understand. I'm trying to make an appeal that if they want to take the world down in sort of some sad refrain about everything, well, that's a very sad thing. It's making the world sad, and I think the world ought to be a happier place. That's just my take. The world should be a happier place, not this madly sad place for all sorts of reasons, because people can't cooperate, they can't argue common sense, they're insulting each other rather than have a discussion. People, say one thing and say you'll actually call them names, which shows that if you're calling people names as soon as they've said something, you've lost your argument. You don't have an argument. If you're calling people names, as soon as someone says something that you don't want to hear or disagree with, as soon as you call them names, you know that you're showing people that you don't really have a substantial argument. It's a problem. You have to substantiate your argument. And sometimes a humour is the best way to break down these barriers. Humour lifts. You tell people jokes or funny story, and it opens their mind to what's coming next, rather than this terrible black feeling that's being created in the world over what? Yes, there's a pandemic. Yes, there's a difference of opinion now. Economists should be run between the sort of Roman welfare system and the socialist working system. This is a dichotomy in the world at the moment that people aren't willing to face or willing to discuss, because someone might be upset. Someone at the highest pinnacles of these systems may be upset. Someone trying to understand what the problem is, with a bit of humour thrown in, so that both sides can have a laugh at each other. If you can't have a laugh at each other, and someone can't throw a witty joke at you and have a laugh, you've got a problem. If you can't give a bit of a joke at them and they have a laugh, they've got a problem. And thankfully, I'm from a society that everyone had a joke. Everyone had a joke. My mum and dad had one wonderful sense of humour. They were comedians, both of them. It was brilliant to be in that sort of household. And my dad would say to my mum would say, sorry, I haven't been out all week. My dad said, well, you put the washing out twice. What are you complaining about? I mean, it's not... And then she laughed. They laughed. She didn't go and cry and say, oh, you wife beater, you're terrible, you're pressing me. They weren't oppressed, they were happy. It's called love, companionship, which is based on a sense of humour. If you get a partner and they haven't got a sense of humour, then you've got a bad partnership. If you're a partner, you've got a partner, so you've got good advice, whether gay or same sex, whatever you are, whatever matter. I don't give a damn. It's none of my business, all that sort of stuff. I have no opinion on all that. I'm open mind, I don't care. It's boring. A boring subject, I don't care. I'm a bit like the Dutch, I don't give a damn about all that personal shit. But I do care that people have a sense of humour. And people who get into a relationship ought to be able to share a sense of humour. And it has to be a light-hearted sense of humour. If it's not, then the relationship will be boring. It'll be based on materialism. It'll be based on just sort of sexual satisfaction without much love. And it will get them down if you can't have a joke or a light-hearted sense of humour about things. I think humour is a gift from God. And it's a shame, it's the highest form shows the highest development within humanity, is being able to have a sense of humour and a joke. Because it takes a mind to actually develop mind to actually make jokes and tell stories. But I just put that in. If you want to tell jokes now on YouTube, do it in Chinese, and then what they're going to say. No one will say, no, you're making a joke, which is actually very funny.